The film starts with a little koala bear named Moon and his father attending a music party. Moon had a dream that when he grows up, he would be the first koala to reach the moon. However, when he saw the party, he was mesmerized by its beauty and fell in love with the stage and all its details. This made him give up on his dream. When he grew up, his father bought him a theater to perform shows, and people started saying that he was the best performer in town. However, some people called him stubborn, but he was very confident in himself. And while he was lost in his imagination dreaming of a bright future, his secretary Crowley interrupts him, telling him the theater crew from the last show is outside demanding their salaries. Additionally, the bank employee calls, demanding the payment for his debts. But he tells her to inform them that he's not available and flees from a secret place. Now, let's meet the main characters. The first one is Johnny, who loves singing, but is forced to work with his father in a gang. He stands guard when the gang steals money, but when the police spot them, they escape in their car. The second character is Rosita, a mother of 25 children, who is preparing breakfast while singing. She loves singing. However, like any mother's children, she is always busy with household chores. The third pair consists of 2 members of a rock band, Ash and Lance, who are also in a romantic relationship. During their performance, Ash deviates from the lyrics, leading Lance to get upset and insist that he, as the lead singer, wants her to stick to the agreed-upon words. The fourth character is a beautiful girl named Mina, who loves singing, but is very shy. During her grandfather's birthday celebration, he tells her that his wish is for her to join a band, because he believes her voice is extraordinary and shouldn't go to waste. He thinks that if he had her voice, he would be a star by now. The last character is Mike, who also loves singing and plays in the street. However, he's an angry person and sees himself as a double talent, that he gets angry at anyone who gives him little money and forces them to give him more. Returning to Moon, who goes to meet his wealthy friend, Eddie, whose father funds his shows. However, Eddie tells him that his father called him a failure and that he won't fund any more of his shows. But Moon tells Eddie that his intended show is different because he decided to hold a singing competition. Each character had once thought they could be a star someday. Eddie objects to the idea. So Moon returns to his office, gathers all the money he has, and tells Crowley to write in the advertisement for the competition that the winner will receive $1,000. However, Crowley accidentally adds a 0 and prints the advertisement with a price of $100,000. The advertisement spreads everywhere, and Ash, Johnny, Mina, Mike, and Rosita see it. They become overjoyed that the opportunity has finally come for them. The next day, many animals arrive for the audition, and when Moon sees them, he can't believe his eyes. He becomes extremely happy and talks to Eddie, expressing his excitement. The audition begins, and each participant takes their turn to sing. Moon and Crowley sit and listen to them. When it's Mina's turn, she becomes too embarrassed and unable to sing and walks away feeling upset. The day of announcing the winners of the competition arrives, and all the participants are nervous. Moon comes forward to announce the accepted participants. He approaches Ash and told her that she's accepted into the competition as a solo act without Lance. This shocks Lance, and he tells her to go with him. She walks with him, but with hesitation. Moon then tells Johnny that he's accepted, making Johnny very happy. Moon also tells Rosita that her voice is beautiful, but boring. So he adds a partner named Gunter to her, to add some excitement to the performance. Eddie comes and sees the rejected animals walking away, and he's surprised by their number. Moon stops to talk to the accepted participants, but there's one team that didn't make it. They continue singing to Moon, trying to convince him to accept them into the competition, but he walks away from them. The participants notice a box and ask Moon if the money is inside. Moon confirms that the money is indeed in the box. They ask him to open it so they can see the $100,000. Moon is surprised by the amount he hears. So Eddie shows him the advertisement with the price amount. Moon realizes that he made a mistake and feels trapped. He takes Crowley aside and asks her what happened. She explains the error and then she leaves. He then approaches Eddie and asks him to inform his family to give him the money, but Eddie refuses, suggesting they withdraw from the competition. Moon insists that his father worked hard washing cars every day to buy the theater, and he won't let him down. Then, he tells the participants to get a good night's sleep, as training grounds will begin tomorrow, emphasizing the need for their full commitment. So they all leave, but Eddie comes and tells him that the competition won't save the theater, and that he doesn't actually have the prize money. However, Moon doesn't listen to him. Meanwhile, Mina is upset that she couldn't sing, but her grandfather comes and tells her to go ask Moon for a second chance. And Ash tries to convince Lance to participate in the competition, telling him that if she wins the money, they can open a recording studio. And then the whole world will hear their voices, and explains that she's doing all of this for them. But he doesn't listen and accuses her of betraying him, while Mike sees a mouse and is fascinated by her and wants to enter the place with her, but the security prevents him. Donnie is excited about being accepted, but his father informs him that they will carry out another operation, stealing a ship. However, Donnie is assigned to drive because it's time for him to have a role in the gang. Then he asks about the ship's arrival time, but they say they don't know it yet. Donnie is forced to listen to their plans. At this time, Rosita tries to find a nanny to take care of her 25 children for 2 weeks, but when they hear the number of children, they refuse. When her husband comes home from work, she tries to tell him about the competition, but he's too tired and falls asleep, which upsets Rosita. However, Rosita stays up all night, inventing machines to do the work instead of her. She leaves and heads to the theater. When her children wake up, they find a recorded tape of her voice, and the machines taking care of them, to the point that her husband doesn't even notice their absence. At the theater, Moon gives each participant a list of songs to choose from, and tells Johnny that he will play the piano while singing. However, Johnny admits that he hasn't played the piano since he was young, so Moon asks Crowley to give him piano lessons. Moon also introduces the participants to their training location, but they start arguing among themselves. Moon tries to mediate and calm them down. Meanwhile, Ash survives, expressing dissatisfaction with the songs he provided. She claims they don't suit her taste at all, but he explains that she's young, and these songs are fitting for her, and shows her the dresses she should choose for the performance. However, she objects to his suggestions. While they are talking, the electricity suddenly cuts off because they haven't paid the bill. The participants are surprised, but Moon reassures them that it's just a minor issue and tells them to continue practicing, while he goes out of the window to try and steal electricity from the neighboring building. Meanwhile, Mina arrives to talk to Moon, but he's busy with what he's trying to do and interrupts her, telling her to carry him towards the building. Eventually, they succeeded in restoring electricity and enter the theater, where Moon offers Mina a job as a worker, and she agrees to be a part of it. He shows her around the theater, and she's amazed by its beauty. And Mike goes to the bar manager and tells him that he will receive $100,000 soon. In response, the manager gives him a special card for the place, and then Mike gets into his car, stops in front of the mouse he likes, takes her, and they both enter the place together. At that time, Ash is talking to Lance and tells him that she's thinking of writing the song she will sing in the competition herself. However, he tricks her and makes her believe that it's not easy for anyone to write a song. Meanwhile, Mina goes to her house and finds the whole neighborhood gathered there. They ask her what she did, and she had to tell them that she got accepted into the competition. The bank employee comes to Moon and tells him that if he doesn't pay his debts, the bank will seize the theater. So Moon goes to Eddie, and during their conversation, Moon discovers that Eddie's grandmother is still alive and very wealthy. However, Eddie warns him that she's a mean person and advises him to stay away from her. The next day, Crowley, who always causes troubles, creates another problem where a participant gets injured and needs medical attention. The ambulance arrives and takes the participant away, and another team withdraws from the competition due to their internal conflicts. Suddenly, everything goes wrong, and the situation becomes bleak for Moon because two participants will not continue. So he enters the theater and proposes to Mina that she does a performance experiment, and she agrees, but tells him that she's very shy and might fail. However, he's happy that she agreed. Next, he goes and tells the team that was plotting against him to join the competition, but they don't understand him and think he insulted them instead of asking them to join. They get angry, attack him, and leave. Then, Johnny's father calls him and asks him to come. So he goes and talks to Moon, asking for his permission to leave, and he agrees. And when Ash went home, she sees Lance singing with another girl, so she kicks them out. At the same time, Mike is playing with some bears, although was winning, but they discover that he was cheating, so he runs away and escapes in his car. The next day, Moon goes to Eddie and takes him to visit his grandmother. His grandmother descends confidently, and Moon tries to convince her to fund the competition, but she stays unsure and thinks about the old times and the theater. Moon insists that the theater is still beautiful and has become even better, inviting her to see it herself. He plans to put on a special performance for her, and she agrees to go. Afterward, Moon happily informs the participants that they will conduct a rehearsal tomorrow. However, Johnny receives a call from his father, who informs him that the shipment has arrived and asks him to come immediately. So he goes, and his father tells him to stay in the car until they exit exactly after 37 minutes. Johnny decides to return to the theater for his own performance and then come back for his father, believing that he can succeed. And while Ash is singing, she becomes emotional and unable to continue, leaving the stage. Next, Rosita and Gunther enter to sing, but Rosita fails, causing them to exit as well. Then, Johnny rushes in and hurriedly starts singing and playing the piano, but his performance is not good. Afterwards, he quickly leaves to catch up with the gang, but finds the road extremely crowded. Then the gang exits, unable to find Johnny, and the police arrive, arresting them. Meanwhile, Johnny went to visit his father in prison. However, his father becomes impatient and angry, asking where he went. Johnny reveals that he participated in a singing competition and was training during that time, and expresses his desire to become a singer, explaining that if he wins the competition, he will receive $100,000 and they will all be released from jail. Despite this, his father gets angry with him and walks away. So Johnny returns to the theater and plans to steal the box, thinking it contains the money, but he discovers that Moon wrote about him being born to be a star and expecting him to win. So he reconsiders his decision and goes to Crowley, expressing his interest in training on the piano, and starts practicing, while Moon and Mina work on preparing the theater, creating beautiful decorations and arrangements. The next day, Rosita leaves her home, but her husband accidentally kicks a ball, causing it to hit the device's equipment she had set up and damaging them. In the theater, Moon hears Ash singing the song she wrote, and he likes it a lot and tells her to perform it today. After that, he goes to Mina and asks if she will join. She says she wants to sing, but is afraid. He advises her not to let fear stop her from doing what she loves. So Mina agrees to join. Then the grandmother arrives. At this time, Mike is standing outside, so the bears approach him, asking for the money. So Mike tells them that Moon has the $100,000 and he will give it to them. Then Moon steps forward to perform the first act, the squid act, impressing the grandmother, who admires the beauty of the theater. However, the bears enter with Mike and demand the money Mike claims that Moon has. But Moon explains that Mike will only receive it if he wins, but the bears insist on getting the money immediately. And Moon, fearing the situation, tells them to take the box. They break it, searching for the money, but they can't find any. The grandmother leaves angrily, and then the whole theater falls, and they all stand in shock, with Moon unable to believe what just happened. Then the bank arrives and seizes the theater's property, and the news spreads in the media. Then Moon stays at Eddie's home, and the participants visit her. Moon apologizes for lying to them, but they suggest finding another place to perform. However, he refuses, stating that the newspaper have called him a failure who hasn't accomplished anything in his life, and he decides not to proceed with the show. So they leave, but Nina comes and tells him to try again, reminding him not to let fear stop him from doing what he loves. However, he tells her that they are failures and lack the qualities for success, so she becomes upset and walks away. Moon decides to work as a car washer like his father, and Eddie is shocked at first, but then decides to help him. They start working together, and as they work, Moon hears singing and follows the sound. He finds Mina, who is singing beautifully. He tells her that he wants to hear her singing in front of a crowd, and she agrees. So, he talks to the rest of the team, spreading the word and preparing the theater for the show. Mike asks Moon about the prize, but Moon tells him that it's not a competition anymore, and they will sing for themselves, without money. At night, there is no audience except for the team's families and the skeptical announcer. However, they decide to perform anyway, because they are singing for themselves. The show starts with Rosita and Gunter singing a beautiful duet, and the audience applauds. More people enter to watch, and they all enjoy the show. And then Johnny's turn comes, and he sings, and everyone is enjoying it. And his father sees him in prison, and feels happy and proud of him, and escapes from prison to be with them. After Johnny finishes singing, everyone applauds. And then it's Ash's turn, but a bank employee comes and tells them that they are trespassing on the bank's property and should leave. However, Ash doesn't care and continues singing, getting the audience involved. Lance also is watching and enjoying the performance. When Ash finishes, the audience applauds again. And then Mike's turn comes, and the bear sees him and goes to catch him. The mouse sees them too, and Johnny's father arrives and tells him that he's proud of him, hugs him, and leaves. Then it's Mina's turn, but she's scared, so Moon goes to her and tells her not to be afraid. He takes her to the stage, encourages her, and she starts singing. At first, she's shy, but then she unleashes all her hidden energy and sings beautifully, making everyone dance. The bears go to Mike, but the mouse saves him, while Mina is still singing, and the audience sings along with her, with beauty and excitement. And when she finishes, everyone cheers, including the bears. The grandmother is present too, and Moon sees her and feels very happy. Afterward, the grandmother buys the theater's land for Moon, and he's overjoyed, and they start building it again, making it beautiful, and reopen it again. And that's how the movie ends. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for the next movie.